What is going on, everyone? We are here with another episode of the Spotlight series. Y'all know the drill is every week on Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern. I have a new artist on here. Been cranking out a lot of new interviews this January, and February is loaded with a lot of new talent. And today we have Devon Gabriella on here. How are you today?
Guys, I'm good. How are you?
And not too bad. Again, I always just like to thank everyone. I'm so excited to have you on here and just thank you for taking time out of your morning to kind of do this and tell your story through music.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
No, of course. Kind of before we get into all the questions and kind of talk about your whole story through music and what you're kind of doing right now, is just if you want to tell the people a little bit about just who you are in general. It doesn't even have to be music wise, kind of what you're doing and stuff like that.
Cool. Well, my name is Devin. I'm a singer-songwriter. I am a student, so I'm also like a full-time student doing music. Not really music on the side. It's kind of what I hope to, obviously what I hope to pursue, but thought I'd get a degree in there just, to have that as a plan B. But I do hope to, become a full-time musician, sustain myself off of that. Um, but yeah, I'm self-taught, so I didn't really take any like lessons, guitar, singing. I just kind of learned off YouTube and just like we never really got me into that, but I'd say my dad's side of the family is pretty musical. I
Mhm.
like that lineage, like a lot of instruments. My dad's plays, a multitude of instruments and sings as well. So we always like to do fun little duets together. But I'd say that yeah, that kind of drove me to do music, and we'll probably get into that later. But
Yeah.
yeah, singer songwriter, kind of like a lot of other people are out there trying to do. But yeah, I think I'm unique in a lot of different ways. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. It's just so cool because like I've met so many different artists on here, so it's just always cool to hear everyone's different stories and how they kind of came up with music and what
Mhm.
like they're doing right now and just how like especially one of the questions I ask is like the creative process when it comes to like writing a song. So I just can't wait to get into all that.
Yeah, sounds good.
um Kind of starting with the basic of basics, and we kind of just started touching up on it a little bit, is how did you really get into music? Like what really started getting you into the singing? Obviously you said you're self-taught, which is actually really cool because I don't think I've had a lot of artists on here that have self-taught themselves. Like a lot of them have come up with taking lessons and doing all that, but so how did singing kind of really come about for you and just like playing instruments and all that?
Yeah, so I have a twin sister actually, and we started like singing in a little band in elementary school. Um, I've been singing since I was a little toddler. Like I said, my dad's super musical, so he'd just be playing like jingles on the piano, and I'd be singing along with my sister, and that kind of stuck with me throughout like my adolescence. I'm still in my adolescence, but my toddler years. Um, and yeah, so we started singing in this little band in elementary school, started performing at these talent shows. We do like local performances, and then we started getting older. We kind of all branched out to do our own things. My sister got more into dance, and I stuck with singing. Um, and then my friends kind of caught on to like, oh, okay, she has a nice voice. So my friend made me an Instagram called Devon Sings, and I think it's been deleted right now, but it was just so funny. Like I'd sit as our little like we'd sit up behind this little like brick wall, and I just like sing Miley Cyrus, and she'd just like press like at 10 years old. And we were just like having so much fun with it, posting, and she was like, "I'm your manager," and it was like a fun little thing. So that's how I kind of got on like social media singing, and then I want to say like either I started a new account or I just kept that Devon Sings account. I'll have to scroll back to my account. Um, but with the rise of social media, that was kind of happening when I was in like sixth grade, like Instagram and everything. So I just decided to start an account, start a singing account, started posting on it a bunch, started getting some traction, started getting really into the algorithm and social media and like how to blow up, I
Yeah.
guess, if
Yeah.
that's the right word. Um, but yeah, so I started doing that, and then I picked up the guitar and ukulele. Like I said, I just like searched up how to play a C chord on Google and like tried to match my fingers to it. And after, some practice, my first song I learned on there was Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Yep.
I remember like sitting down and just playing it for my mom. She's like, "Oh, you're getting kind of good." And so I kind of, kept on that. And then as social media became more prevalent, I just stuck with it. I think I've had my account for 2 years, 3 years now. Um, but also, like I'm sure like as time changed, pandemic, new apps getting invented, you have to kind of stick with it. So
Exactly.
then, I started posting on YouTube, which was fun. It was like more full covers. I got my first, you can kind of see it back there, my first camera,
Mhm.
and I filmed a lot of full covers on there. And then TikTok came about. So we started get on that grind right when it came out, basically. And I was in my dorm at the time when it came out, so I'd wait till my roommate wasn't home and film my film my singing videos and then go into these random rooms on campus. And I go to a school where it's very engineering based
Yep.
and like business based. I'm not, I'm neither of those things. I'm a communication studies major. Um, but I think it's interesting to try to find people here who do what I do.
Right.
So it's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's taboo, but you don't hear it a lot. Like, oh, what do you want to do? Everyone's like, I want to be an aerospace engineer. I want to be a businesswoman. I want to be a singer.
Right.
So it's like a little bit different. But um, yeah, I started like finding little secret places on campus to film some videos, and they started getting some cool traction, and um, recorded my first single. Like I recorded all my songs just literally in my bedroom right here. I've never like been to like a real studio, but I just do it like a home mic and send it off um, to some independent producers and
Mhm.
kind of go from there. So yeah,
No,
that's
that
how I started.
No, that's like really cool. Honestly, I think out of like I've interviewed a lot of different artists and like they've told me all their stories like with lessons and stuff like getting singing lessons and then like their parents teaching them the guitar and stuff. But I think that's one of the more unique stories that I've heard is just because you're self-taught, like you kind of did all this stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about that you like kind of recorded like the songs that you have out right now, like just in your bedroom and then kind of sent them off like that. Like that's like really cool because I would think that you were in the studio like all the time, like kind of doing all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's super, super cool that you kind of do all that.
Yeah, I wish, I really want to be in a recording studio and
Right.
have that whole vibe, but you kind of have to work with what you got. And so I just kind of started I've been writing for a really long time, but when I first, kind of realized, okay, I want to put these out, I knew that I couldn't do it all by myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's possible
Right.
to like learn how to produce, but I just felt like my expertise lies elsewhere. So I was like, I'll do the vocals. But I recorded like all the guitar and better this way. It
Mhm.
was just mixed and mastered by his name's Michael Girgis. If you don't know him, you should go check him out. He's awesome. But he helped me with that song. He also helped me with The Way That I See You, which is like the first song I released, which is kind of like a teeny bopper song. Like I don't a lot of people still like it. Like a lot of people always ask me about it, and it's
Yeah.
just so different because I feel like I found my genre through writing and recording and seeing what I like and dislike.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's also nice just like being from the comfort of your own bedroom, being able to like do it as many times. You don't have someone like being like, "Art, nope, record it again. Oh, that was good." Like
No,
I remember
exactly.
I want to record it as much as I can, and no one watching me, and I light a candle and I just put my microphone up, and it's the
No,
vibe.
exactly. Like you're in your safe place, and that's just like where you feel comfortable. And like I totally get that because I don't think a lot of people know is the first song I ever released. Shout out to Alexa Mashka. The song that we did together. We both did that from our own separate homes. Is
Yeah.
she did all the vocals and stuff on her end. I had a friend of mine, shout out to Phil, he did the piano on it. And then they both sent me all the stuff, and I kind of just mixed and mastered everything and produced it all up. And we were all just doing it from our homes. So like it was cool.
Really
So it's really cool to kind of see that that's how you did everything.
Yeah, and I think that there's something really special about that. It makes it more like, I don't know, genuine and real and raw, I
Right.
think. But yeah, super cool.
Yeah. So kind of obviously with your music and with your songwriting, you must have some inspirations, whether it's family or friends or in the music business as well. Who do you look up to like when you kind of make music and stuff like that?
Okay, so I, it's definitely changed. I think like lyricism is becoming like such a prominent factor in like what songs do well and what songs don't. So I'd say I had um some more like pop kind of like radio, pop star inspiration when I was writing my first song, The Way That I See You.
Mhm.
And then when it came to Better This Way and other songs came after that, Lisa McAlpine is like one of my biggest inspirations, music wise, just artist wise. Her lyrics are so like raw and wholesome and like poetic. I mean, lyrics are poetic, but hers just like kind of hit a deeper chord in me when I listened to it, and I just listened to her album on repeat. Her albums that have come out. So I draw a lot of inspiration from her. I draw a lot of inspiration from Gracie Abrams. She's like one of my favorite artists as well. Her lyrics are also very raw, and um, her music production is really inspiring to me. I love listening to like certain sounds, and I'm sure you know it's interesting when you get into production, like listening to songs and trying to recognize sounds and what they did here
Yep.
and harmonies and layers, and um, listening to songs becomes such a different experience once you're writing them, and you know, not just like bopping your head to the tune, you're bopping your head to like what they're saying. You're like, yes, that's so cool. So I think I've drawn a lot of inspiration from them, um, and also just inspiration from everyone as everyone navigates this new platform and the new times. Times are changing, especially like I said with the pandemic. Like you have to have some different tactics now because
No,
there's not a lot of
exactly.
things you can do like we used to do a few years ago. So
No, and that's I totally get that just because with the pandemic, that's how I really started getting into music and stuff like that because we were in lockdown and I was stuck at home for like 6 months and like I didn't know what to do. Like we closed my
yeah.
work and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta like reach out to people because I was already songwriting kind of before then a little bit. And then
Mhm.
that just really like pushed me to do the interview series and put out more songs and write more songs and talk to new people because a lot of people don't understand in the music business is it's hard if you don't have those connections with people and talk to people like that. I mean, once you start opening those doors and stuff, it could just go anywhere. And that's why I love this interview series that I do. And I think a lot of artists that come on, they really understand it as well because it's so good to make those connections because then like I said it can just open so many different doors.
Exactly. And with music, I mean, I feel like we're lucky in the sense where people listen to our finished product in the comfort of their own homes. So you can really create and send it out, and like people were looking for music, I think, during, you know, those this time to
Exactly.
find comfort and but with social media, I mean, it could be from anywhere. So that's why it's super cool.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, that is awesome that you picked that up during quarantine, like, and you're
Mm-hmm.
already doing stuff like this, and this is all like it's literally who you know. The music industry is all who you know.
No,
So
exactly. And that's what it comes down to.
yeah.
So kind of getting into my next question, is your creative process like, when it comes to writing a song. Obviously you have those couple of songs out that we've already mentioned. Like, so where does just all that come from? Because people probably hate me by now is I use this quote over and over and over again because Garrett Walker just said it perfectly. And I will quote him until the day I die. He was on the series and he said songwriting is it's like a puzzle, whether you have 500 or 1,000 pieces, you have them all laid out on the table. You're trying to put the pieces together, figure out what goes where. And by the end, when you have this whole masterpiece done, you have this whole picture and you have this whole story, and it just all comes together. And then you can hang that up, whether it's a record or whether it's the puzzle that you just put together. And so many artists just have so many different ways of doing things when it comes to the creative process. So when it comes to yours, what is that like for you?
So I feel like mine's changed a lot. I think when my first song came out, I was very focused on rhyming. As simple as that sounds, like very much like what fits here and like what would go here, what would someone want to hear at this part of the song. So I really didn't base it off like real experiences I had. I kind of like this is for the way that I see you. I mean, the sentiment of the song did mean a lot to me, and I had some real life experiences with that. Um, but it wasn't really like as authentic as I wanted it to be. And so with my next song, Better This Way, I knew I wanted to just like sit down and write something that like I didn't really care as much if people wanted some other word here. You know, like I wanted it to be like so real and so raw from everything that I'd experienced like being in college. Obviously, you're going to have so many different experiences with so many different people. And so I really drew from that. And obviously, those experiences weren't fun when I was going through them. But, you know, as an artist, you kind of have to have those hard experiences because, like, then you can make it into something awesome. Like you said, like, such a cool thing about music is, like, once it's done, like, you have a finished product. Like, you have something that's going to be there forever, as,
Exactly.
you know, and, like, you can either hang it up or you have it on your phone. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I'd say I really just, and I think Liz McAlpine, I think really just inspired me um, in this area, just like being super um, raw with words. Like it doesn't need to be traditional rhyming or traditional, I want you, why don't you want me? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
very much like get into the nitty gritty details. Like specificity is so important. Um, I also draw like from Olivia Rodrigo. I think her lyrics are very like heartfelt and gut-wrenching at
Right.
points. And they're not super specific, but how she, you know, shapes her words hit a certain chord. I mean, she's amazing. She's
Yeah.
incredible and her music resonates with so many people, so she's doing something right. So yeah.
No, exactly. And it's
Yeah.
just really cool because I kind of feel like I've had a couple people on that have kind of answered the question a little similar to how you do. And it's just funny because once I started listening to some of your music, once I found you, is I could like I hate comparing people to people, but like these are also under the radar artists that I've had on the show is like Lexi Tori and Maggie B. Like the two of them have like kind of answered the questions very similar to you, and they have the same type of style and the same type of music, and like I'm drawn towards like that kind of like raw and emotional vibe of a song, because at the end of the day it's the storytelling, that raw emotional vibe is just kind of really what draws me in as an artist and a songwriter.
Exactly. Yep, you couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it by myself. Yeah.
So, kind of getting into the fourth question, that's always the hardest question. And sometimes I've had a lot of artists freeze up on this question, and some people already know who they are and have answered this question perfectly. But there's no wrong and there's no right answers to any of these questions. But obviously, with the pandemic and then TikTok coming around, and even still just Instagram, people really promote their music a lot more now and are figuring out the algorithms and stuff like that. And it doesn't matter what genre you're in, whether it's country, pop, rap, there's hundreds and hundreds of artists out there trying to make a name for themselves. So kind of my question is with all these other artists out there, and just kind of for people to understand really who you are, is what makes you you?
Yeah. That is a difficult question, but I love it. Um, I've always like I resonate with quotes a lot, so I like how you quoted someone, and that was a super cool quote. I think like no one is me, and that's my superpower. Like no one is you, and that's your superpower. And I think, um, obviously, I find myself similar to other artists, um, but I mean, we've all had such individual experiences. Like I've struggled with mental health, and I've struggled with just like and as do most likely other artists. But I mean, there's it's just such an individual experience, and no two songs mean exactly the same thing. So I'm also looking for that. Like I want to set myself apart. I want to put more of my personality into like what I put on social media, just to show people I'm not just this singing robot. I was talking to my mom the other day. Like I want to like post more like me,
Yeah.
just like I I consider myself kind of like I'm a fun person, I hope. And like I think it'd be cool to put more of that onto social media. And I feel like people fall in love with one, the music, but two, like the persona, the person behind the music. And that's how a lot of artists, are doing so well, because like they're not just a person who, spits out songs. They're like real, raw. So yeah, I'm trying to emulate that, but also trying to navigate how to really set myself apart in such um an industry with so many people trying to do the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. And it's just really cool because that really just shows your artistry and like who you are as an artist. Because I was talking with Brandon Davis. I think I kind of told you that before the interview started, and he was just on, is that I think a lot of people connect with people that are just themselves, because that's what I'm drawn to too, is the people that are just kind of themselves and just like go out and play at bars, and
Yeah.
whether or not like they're out in the stage, they're just like, hey, like this is me, this is who I am. Like if you want to listen to my music, great. If you don't, you
But
don't.
yes.
And I think that's just what draws a lot of people in, because sometimes when I mean, I'm not trying to bash anyone like big time or anything like that, but sometimes then they just like they put their name out there, and that's just what they are. And then kind of like the fame and money sometimes get to people's heads, and that's not what it's about. At the end of the day, if you can just be you, and that's really what a lot of people are drawn to, and I think that's what a lot of people love to see. And
Exactly.
that's just, so it's awesome that you said that and you kind of know who you are. And another good word for it is always instant identity, is you know what you want to do with your music, you know what you want to give your fans and stuff like that. So it's just really really cool to see that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's so funny that you mentioned that, because when I'm on like my live streams, because I do a bunch of TikTok lives, which is also like something that has really helped me, and I mentally and, career wise. Like I love going live on TikTok. I love connecting with people, and so many people have told me like your music helped me with this, and just like it takes one person saying that for it to like make the whole song worth it. So that's also what just drives me to keep on going. Like it's a beautiful experience, really.
No, exactly. So kind of getting into the last question before obviously my favorite part is hearing a song from you. Is what are your goals as an artist? Like where do you want to go with your music? Obviously you have a couple of things out now, but what else can we expect down the road from you?
Yeah, so um I like setting little milestones for myself, like setting small goals. No such thing as really small goals, but especially in the new year, I've been really into like manifesting and manifestations, and I like to say and think that things are coming true for me. So I want to obviously want to release more music. I want to keep on promoting it. The name of the game right now is TikTok, trying to kind of make my way and make my presence stronger on that and social media. And I'm hoping to move to LA in the next 6 months or so, which is super exciting. So it's supposed to graduate early, so gonna just pack my stuff up and move and make connections, make friends out there. I'm releasing a new song. Haven't formally announced it, but why not just kind of say it a little bit? It's called Marriage Story, and it's been a song that a lot of people who listen to my music have been waiting for. And I'm working with this amazing producer, Jordan V, who is incredible. And we've been working on it um, for a good amount of time now, just trying to get it, how we want it. So I'm super excited for that song. And yeah, I one goal I set for myself for this year was just like I want to attend an award show. Like whether I'm just like in the audience or accepting an award, like I just want to be there. I want to experience. Like I want to put myself in crowds where like we share passions
Yeah.
and we share the same passion I meant. But like yeah, just trying to indulge myself more in the industry and make connections.
No, that's awesome. And like I'm excited, obviously a huge fan of yours, listen to all your music and your covers and stuff like that. And obviously I just can't wait to see what else is coming and can't wait for that new song and just to see what else happens for you because honestly like the whole packing up thing and just moving to California or whether or not you even go down to Nashville at some point too and just pack everything up is another quote that I always live by. I quote way too many things now that I think about
Me
it,
too.
but
I quote
at
so
the end of the day, it's just like I live and breathe by this quote as well as you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So
I
if
same. That is like one of my favorite quotes.
no, exactly. I mean, I'm a big hockey guy, so that's why I always live and breathe by that quote. And it's just if you don't do that, then you'll never know what happens. And so I'm just excited to see what happens for you and just can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
No, of course. So, kind of getting into my favorite part is hearing a song from you. Obviously, we're going to take a listen to Better This Way. Kind of before I play a little bit of it, if you want to just kind of give us the backstory on what this whole song's about and how this came about, and then we'll take a little listen to that.
Ooh, yeah. Um, I guess short and sweet. I drew from a lot of experiences with this song, kind of putting myself in a mindset of if, but also drawing off of like what did happen. That sounds a little bit ominous, but like it works out. It worked out for the song. Um, but yeah, I mentioned like my sister in the song. I mentioned things that are so true for me and emotions that and thoughts I couldn't get out of my head, so I put them down on paper and crafted it into what it is. And I think a lot of people are resonating with it. I'm really excited. It got like it's interesting because I released this in October, but I kind of started more promoting on TikTok now. It's gotten like 20,000 more streams over the past like month, I think, which is really great. But
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm so grateful for, how it's resonating with people and hope it can help someone going through a similar situation. So,
No, awesome. So obviously y'all know this is Devon Gabriella. This is out everywhere on Spotify, Apple Music, and stuff, and we're gonna take a listen to Better This Way.
yay.
That's kind of a little bit of Better This Way by Devon Gabriella. And I mean, I don't say this to a lot of artists. I've said this to very few that have been on the show, and there's not a lot of songs and vocals that like give me chills sometimes. But like, and I mean, it is like -20 here, but like, it's not from the cold, but like, it's just those like you can just hear that raw emotion in your vocals, and that's just that. I think that's what draws me into a lot of your music and the stuff that you have out and like the covers that you do. So it's just
Thank
really
you.
well done, and I'm just excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited for both of us, and thank you so much for having me on.
No, of course. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Just real quick, kind of before I do my little outro, is what are your social media handles and stuff like that, and where can people go find you?
Awesome. Instagram, Devon Gabriella with two L's and two A's. I'm working on changing that so I don't have to, make those letter changes. But if you search up Devon Gabriella, it should come up. TikTok, Devon Gabriella Music. YouTube, youtube.com/Devon Gabriella. Um, Thinking of other ones. What other ones are there? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. That's pretty much it. Devon
Yeah.
Gabriella. I'm sure if you just search me up on Safari or Spotify, obviously Devon Gabriella, Apple Music. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, awesome. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this, and just really appreciate talking to you. And I can't wait for people to hear this interview.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, of course. That concludes another episode of the Spotlight series, and y'all know by now. I mean, we're up over like 40 episodes. Same thing every Sunday, 1 p.m. You can find a new artist. Never know who's coming on here. So I'll see y'all next week, and thanks for tuning in.